Hi, my name is Brennan, and I'm going to walk through what I did for making changes for this task. With this cast, there's a date picker, or actually multiple picker types for this screen, which is in post settings in the app for WordPress. The problem with the current solution is it doesn't allow rotation when the picker is inside the action sheet. So the request here was to change that so it does support rotation. So I'll just do a quick run through to show what that looks like right now. So here's the WordPress app in the simulator. I go into, check the settings. I can do what I did before, except this time it's friendly to rotation. You can actually rotate while it's still being displayed. You can dismiss it by tapping in the top area, just like a table view with a search bar supports that sort of functionality, so I kind of repeated that functionality. You can also just use the tap button that was already in place. There's multiple pickers in here. I'm using the exact same code, largely untouched the picker code that was already there, just handling how it's being placed inside of essentially a custom modal. I'll show you what that does. So what I created is a new modal view controller that will allow me to put view contents into the modal, which is then displayed. It has a semi-transparent background here. It has a tap gesture, which is all connected so that I can handle the tap gesture to dismiss the modal. And then here, you can see this is built with a delegate so that it can handle when it was dismissed, when it will show, did show, will hide, did hide. This is so I can support different animations depending on what the actual parent might want to do with it. Now here in the settings view controller, I have the show picker function. This is the existing code that was already there. And what I did to replace was the first part, which is already working just fine, is the iPad code. It uses a popover, which is the usual thing to do. What was needed to change was the iPhone aspect, so that's all I touched. Now in here, I create a UI picker view that was already created before. I just happen to handle it here, and I place it inside of the modal, which is created right here. I also override the animation duration, which I could make it take a much longer time. So if I do something like 1.5 seconds, you can see that's customizable. So it's much slower. Coming and going, it's much slower. But since I handle a different animation with it popping up on the bottom, I wanted the screen, the semi-transparent screen, to come up much more quickly. And this is the code that was already there. And then I get down towards the bottom, where the wrapper view for the picker is added to the modal view as a subview, and then it just shows the modal. And because there's some auto resizing going on, I have to make sure that the width is set again properly. If I don't actually do this, I found that the auto resizing, it's okay because I'm auto resizing the interface builder file. It's okay with portrait because that's the auto resized initial size, so it's fine there. But if I were to dismiss it and do this, you can see it's actually much wider. It's auto resized to a really wrong size. So that's not what I wanted. So I wanted to correct that behavior here. And it should handle it just fine. That's all working just fine. This is where it works as it did before. Now where I have the delegate functions handled below, here it simply hides the modal, tells it to hide the modal when it's been dismissed from within the modal. And here's the support for animating slightly differently. So when the modal will show, what this does is it sets the contained view, the wrapper view for the picker, which I identified with a tag value to make it kind of easier to work with. I could have done this with a property, but I chose to do it with a tag to make it maybe a little more flexible. If there's multiple pickers with different things going on, I could have different tags, so I don't have to have lots of different properties holding on to things. And from here, I just put it off the screen before it's about to show, called the completion block, so that it's timed properly with the animation sequence. And then here, it did show, and when it does show, I want to, depending on whether or not it's animated or not, I want it to appear from the bottom. So I have it slide up from the bottom, depending on landscape or otherwise. I have to handle the dimensions differently. And then finally, when it will hide, it will slide it off the screen in the opposite way than it came in. And that's how you can see it does the keyboard kind of appearance, kind of an animation. So it slides up from the bottom, just like the keyboard would. You can see, like, if I just set visibility to password protected, I can go in here and the keyboard comes up, and I can go like this, and it goes like that. So from a behavioral coding standpoint, I think this is all set, ready to go. From a design UX standpoint, there might be some adjustments that could be made to make it more compliant with how it should be. But for now, it looks like it's good to go. Any feedback you have on it, I appreciate it. Thanks.